To start off the new year, LEGO released their newest battle pack, the Clone Troopers vs. Battle Droids battle pack. While I think it's the best battle pack in the last few years, like any set, it still has a few flaws. So in today's video, we're going to be upgrading a few things about this set, switching out a few parts, and just fixing the speeder build, because that's the worst part of the set. I'm not really here to complain about this set today, I just want to make it a little bit better, because this is already a great set. I just don't really like the speeder, and there's a few other things that I think could use some improvement. So anyways, let's get into it. So for a lot of people, they don't really like the helmet holes. I personally don't mind them, but I know a lot of people don't like them, so I'm here to provide an upgrade for those, which is Grandpa Clone Customs. If you've been living under a rock and don't know Grandpa Clone Customs, basically they make a bunch of custom clone troopers that are very similar, if not identical to LEGO. And I think these helmets look great. While I don't care that much about the helmet holes, I can recognize that it looks so much better without them. So I'll keep buying these helmets because they're only $2.50 each, which isn't that bad unless you're buying like 100. These helmets are not on official LEGO sadly, but the quality is so perfect. Usually I see replica helmets that don't match the same quality as LEGO's, but these look really good and they don't have any color difference. Now for the Shock Trooper, unfortunately I don't have GCC's helmet for this, but I do have CLONES Customs, which is not as good as the GCC in my opinion, but I think it works, and I know some people do prefer CLONES Customs. And for some reason last time I made an upgrade video, a lot of people got mad that I used CLONES Customs. So let me know in the comments if you like CLONES Customs or you don't. Anyways, I think it looks fine, nowhere near as good as the GCC one. Oh, also I have one for the Reg Trooper, so you can get that for both of them. But yeah, GCC looks so much better. I really had no problem with any of the figures for the droids, and the stat build was pretty good for a battle pack. These super battle droids, the new ones, are so good. I'm just so glad that they brought them back, and I'm going to get so many of those guys to put alongside my battle droid army. Now for the next upgrade, I want to take a look at the speeder bike, which in my opinion is the worst part of this set. It looks fine at some angles, but in general it just looks kind of thrown together with extra pieces that they had. Also, I'm really not a fan of how they use two guns on the back. I think that just looks really weird. I know they did that so you could hold the pilot and the gunner's weapon on there, but it just looks really weird. But I have two different options to fix this set. So first we have this bark speeder, which I made in another video. A lot of people were mad at me last time I made one of these videos because I completely replaced the build, so I offered that as an option again. So I have a video if you want to make this yourself. And then I have one other speeder which resembles the one from the set more, and it's just more refined and not as clunky. Tried to use a lot of pieces from the set in this upgraded speeder, but I had to use some other parts from my collection. But I did use pieces that aren't too difficult to find, and some you can easily swap out, like in the middle of the set. I swapped out the two blaster configuration for one cannon, and I think it looks a lot better this way. A cool little detail I did by accident was that this pilot actually sits at an angle using a G-slope and then the back piece that he's leaning on, and I think that looks really good, and it just adds a lot to the set in a very subtle way and makes it look a little more realistic to the clone speeders that you see in the movies. Another thing I saw a lot of people saying they didn't like about the original speeder is that it couldn't fit inside the new Coruscant Guard gunship. So this was actually really annoying for me because I was really hoping that it would fit, but obviously it doesn't. So I made sure my newer speeder would fit. And so since it's slimmer down in the front without those massive stud shooters, you just fold some pieces down and then you can slide it in there from the back, and it looks really good. When you open the side door, you can see there's still plenty of space to place minifigures like the clone troopers that you got in this set. Yeah, I really like this speeder overall. I think it's probably the best upgrade in this video, and it just takes the set a lot further than it was before, and it looks much better. Anyways, here's how to build the thing. It's pretty simple, and I think you could probably figure it out by yourself, but if you can't, here it is. The third upgrade of this video, I want to take a look at the Other Republic build, which is the defense turret. I think this looks pretty good. You can see the figure behind it, and I just think it needs to be beefed up a little bit. So the way we're going to be doing that is be using some of these light gray grill pieces. I think you add these to the studs on the front of the shields, and I think this just makes it look a lot more industrial and like sturdy. I also decided to swap out the stud cannon for one of these blasters I used using the candle piece, and I think that looks pretty good on there. But the last thing I wanted to do was make this back part a little slimmer, so you could stand a figure there. So we're going to use this piece that was an extra from when I upgraded the speeder bike, put that on there, attach the shield, and the only extra piece you're going to need is a 1x2 jumper piece in dark bluish gray. And then of course you can add your clone trooper back to the back of it. I couldn't really attach them on those extra studs we have, but oh well. And then you can use the clips if you really want to and put them on the side, or one on each side. I didn't get a clip of that though, because I forgot to do it until just now. For the fourth upgrade, we're going to be looking at the Octop Droid, and I think this is probably the best battle pack build we've ever gotten. At least it's my personal favorite. So there's not much I need to upgrade on this one, but I wanted to make the cannons a little bit longer, so I added some candle pieces to those. You probably have plenty of these if you're getting multiple battle packs, and if you're going to use custom weapons you won't need them. I do kind of think the float fire missiles look a little silly, but I didn't want to keep that functionality, so I decided to swap out the red tips with a red stud and one of the same pieces in dark gray. I also decided to add these cheese slopes to this part because it looked really bland compared to the rest of the legs. And after you add all of these upgrades, I think it looks really good. Wait, that's the wrong thing. There we go. But seriously, here's a look at these 3 upgrades I added. I think this goes a long way for only a few pieces, probably about like 12 pieces or so, something around there. And it looks really good. And I think if you have these pieces, you should just add them to this thing. I'm pretty sure LEGO recommends it on the box too, but I've seen a lot of people use these shields on the defense turret as actual shields for your clone troopers. While I think that works and they're good shield pieces, these shields from DROIDS Toys look so much better. I love how accurate they are to that episode of the Clone Wars with the Doom Legion, and they just look so good compared to the LEGO ones. Pretty sure these are $1 each, so I think they're worth the money for what you get. They're pad printed too on this custom mold. I know we already kind of upgraded the figures when we added the helmets, but I have some custom bodies also from DROIDS Toys, which I think look really good on these. So some of them are shock troopers and one of them is for Captain Wilco from the Bad Batch. These are UV printed on all official parts, and they even include arm printing, which I think looks really good, especially on this heavy shock trooper. The sniper and the officer are the easiest two to make. You just use the official helmets from the set, and then you can add the respective attachments to each of them. And once you put them on the figure, I think they look really good. They just add a lot to this set, especially if you get multiples and you have extra shock troopers you don't need. And if you get the GCC helmets and you have no use for the helmet hole helmets, these look really good with those helmet hole helmets. Now, unfortunately for the heavy shock trooper, if you don't want a decal, you're going to have to use a Clone Army Customs helmet. That's the only helmet that's really accurate to match this torso and legs, which is unfortunate, but I do think this helmet still looks really good. Even though I would prefer a GCC helmet, I do think this shock trooper helmet from Clone Army Customs looks great, especially when you add the visor to it. I'd consider this heavy trooper more of an add-on compared to the other two, since you're not really upgrading anything. I still think he's a pretty good addition to the set though. The last torso upgrade I have is this Captain Wilco body from Clone Army Customs. You can either use this helmet or you can use the GCC helmet that we looked at earlier. All in all, I think these torso upgrades are really good, especially if you're getting multiples of these sets and you want to add some diversity to your ranks. The heavy shock trooper is also really good, but like I said earlier, he's more of an add-on than an upgrade. Final upgrade I have for this video is these blasters from DROIDS Toys. They're 50 cents each, which is a pretty good deal, or you can get 10 of them for $8 or 20, I don't remember, it's a lot. I know there's probably some better options on the market, but these are pretty good for 50 cents each. They're the only custom blasters I've ever had, and I think they work really well. Thank you guys so much for 1,000 subscribers. It was really cool to get that before the end of the year. And welcome to 2024, I guess. This is the first video I've made this year, and I plan to make many more. I plan to do more set reviews like this gunship, and I just really want to branch out with more types of content. So let me know what you guys would like to see in the comments. Let's try and hit at least 2,000 subs by the end of this year.